Yes. So, first of all, very good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Naveen Rana, and my topic for this virtual FDP is management by objective. So, before learning to the actual management by objective, let's have a look at how we reach here. As we all know, management is the art of getting work done through people. And in order that to happen, management has certain functions like planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling, directing, etc. So among all these functions, planning is one of the essentials function of the management. And in order to plan, there we have sort of some analysis. Like we can consider SWOT analysis, like strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. And then based upon the analysis, we can determine our plan into long-term or short-term plans. So once the plans are set, we have to define the objective. So here comes the role of MBO. So let's get started with the MBO. So at the end of this particular session, the student must be able to define an MBO, know and understand the concept of an MBO. He will able to understand objectives. He will able to understand what are the steps in setting up an MBO. And finally, we have look at certain advantages and limitation associated with MBO. So let's get started with one and one. So as I already told you, management by objective is a tool of planning process. So it can be defined as a strategic management model, which basically aims to improve the performance of organization. And how it does it? By clearly defining the objective and those objectives which are predefined or mutually defined by the management and employees. So it can be a technique or philosophy of management which convert organizational objective into the personal objectives. And it is based on a pre-assumptions that establishing permanent personal objectives makes an employee committed and thus leads to better performance of the organization, which is the ultimate goal of a certain organization. So the person on your screen is Peter Drucker, who has coined this term or coined this concept first time in his book, The Practice of Management in 1954. Now, discussing further the concept of MBO, MBO we can define as a process. As I already told you, in this process, the manager and employee, or in this case, superior and subordinate managers are jointly involved. That is the most important part of this thing. So here we can consider the word jointly is very important because Likkert's linking pin model comes into play here. As we already discussed, MBO is a philosophy. So from the point of philosophy, the Douglas McGraw's theory X and theory Y comes into role. Let's have a brief look what is theory X and what is theory Y says. So theory X says these two theories are about the people or employees behavior. So theory X says peoples are lazy. They need direction, they need motivation to work through the process of might be punishment or by the direct controlling. So we can consider theory X is a negative kind of theory. While what's theory Y say? It say people are willing to work, they love their work, and they need a direction and resources to work. So this whole MBO process, this whole MBO tool is based on totally on theory Y. So coming back to the topic, MBO is a process in which the jointly we manager and subordinate jointly identify the common goals and then they define the individual's major area of responsibilities, might be on the department level or the shop floor levels in terms of the industry, and then use these measures as guidelines for operating the unit of enterprises, and through this we can evaluate the contribution or performance of each of its members. As I have already told you, the goals are jointly established by manager and its subordinates, and these are agreed upon in advance. And once the goals are set, they have to put emphasis on the output variable or intervening variable, or maybe some combination of both. And now comes the time factor, which is very important. So at the end of predefined time, the subordinate's performance is reviewed. So here comes the evaluation part in relation to the present goals. Now again, superior and subordinate participate in the process of evaluation. And after evaluation, if we found some discrepancy, we can look upon our plans and then overcome the problem, and or we can make necessary changes to our plan accordingly. So, to conclude, MBO implies managing by properly identifying the objective of organization. That is, we have identified the objectives, and not only for the particular plan or current plan, this also sets stage for the objective for the next time period. So I hope you understand the concept or definition of the MBO. So let's review our concepts. I request all of you to just go through these one simple questions that we have discussed in this 5 minutes, and you can give your answer in the chat box. I will read it for you. First statement, the question says, consider the following statement regarding management by objective and identify the correct statement. The statement 1 is, management by objective is the technique and philosophy of management based on converting an organizational objective into personal objectives. The statement 2 says, a strategic management model that aims to improve the performance of organization. And third said, MBO is an art of getting things done through people. So what is the right answer? It is 1 only, or 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, or all are correct? So some are posting. Let's look at the answer. For the answer of this particular question is B only, that is 1 and 2 only. As I have already emphasized on the philosophy and technique word for the MBO, as I've already emphasized on the strategic management, but this third statement, art of getting things done through people, is a whole concept about the management. So that's why this statement does not justify with the MBO. So let's proceed further. The next objective is, the next terminology is, what are objectives? As we have already mentioned 2-3 times the objectives in the management by objective. So objectives are just the intended goal which prescribe definite scope, suggest direction to the efforts of the manager. Very important. And once we are clear with the objective, so why we need this kind of objective? What is the requirement? So objectives are required to work in the same directions, so that company goals or organization goals can be achieved. It's set, clearly defined and communicated to all, so that each member of an organization is clear with his goal or his part to play in the organization. And these objectives should be reviewed after definite time for the necessary adjustment if there is any requirement. So next topic comes into play is nature of objective. So objective can be defined on certain basis, like short term. For example, if we are working 8 hours a day and our work is lagging behind, so we can extend the time schedule. Maybe we can increase from 8 hours to 10 hours or certain similar kind of situations. So short term objective are used to fulfill the short term goals. But when it When we talk about long-term goals, here we are talking about the structural changes. For example, planning for diversification, or in an education industry, let's say we focus on the R&D activities. So R&D activities takes a few more years comparatively to short term. It take investment, it take resources, it take talented skills to work upon the R&D activities. So that can be considered one of the long-term plan. And objectives can be of specific nature, like for example, if industry point of view, maybe increase the pricing policy or decrease or certain depending upon the market or competitive rates. And it can be journal, like here we have a profit objective of increasing productivity. This is the example of industry. And if from the education point of view, it can be overall increasing overall outcome of our students. Let's proceed further. So why we need objectives? Because yes, it is a competitive economy, and each and every, as I already discussed, each and every member of the organization need to put his full efforts in the right direction in order to achieve the objective and targets. Next. So what are the types of objectives? So broadly, we can define three types of objectives. For the first one is broad objective. So broad objective can be increasing the overall performance or increasing the student outcome or learning outcome of the students at the end of 3-year, 4-year courses. So these objectives can be set at the preliminary stages, or certain changes can be made in the midterms stages. So let's take an example: to supply public with the best of modern utility services at reasonable rates. This can be from the industry point of view. The second type is major objective. So major objective is none other than the decentralization of broad objective on the department level. So broad objective are categorized or distributed to department level for the successful implementation. And the third one is lesser objective. Don't get confused with the lesser word. Lesser objective doesn't mean these are not important. These are very important from the department level activities, so that they can be achieved and the overall enhancement of the organization can be improved. Let's proceed further. So now we come to the fourth part of our presentation, that is what are the steps in setting up an MBO. So here is a cycle, and we will discuss by one. So first of all, we have to set the organization objective. These can be fall into the category of broad objective. Then the second, after clarifying that what are the organizational objectives, these can be mission of the organization, then these can be vision of the organization or motto of the organizations, or what are we looking for the overall outcome. Then in order to achieve these organizational objective, we have to set and align employee objective, that what is the role of each of its member in order to achieve these objectives. Then after the goal setting part is done, we move forward to the monitoring level or controlling level, that how to monitor all these objectives so that it can be completed within the predefined time period. And once we monitored, then the second part comes the evaluation part. So if the goals are going in the right direction, then there is no need to change. But if we need to enhance an goal, like I already told you, short-term objective or long-term objective. So if we need to enhance our goal, short-term methods can be adopted to increase the efficiency. And finally, based upon the evaluation part, we can have certain motivational factor to motivate the working employees, like reward employees. These rewards can be maybe of any terms. So this is how the cycles completes, and this process through we can set up the MBO. So this is the all part given here, which I explained you. So while setting the goal, I want to few parameters we look, that is goal should be smart. What does smart mean? The specific, measurable, acceptable, realistic and time bound. so that we can achieve in a predefined time. So now again have a quick revision of what we have learned. So I want all of you to try to attempt this question that we have just studied a few minutes ago. That what are the steps in setting up MBO? Evaluate performance, set and align objectives, set the organizational objective, reward employees, monitor performance. I want to rearrange in the correct order the 5 steps which are involved in setting up an MBO. You can post your answer in the chat box. Or you can unmute your mic, or you can answer if you want. So let's proceed further. So the answer for this particular question would be C. That is, first step should be setting up an organizational objective. Second should be then we should align with these objectives. And third would be monitor performance, then evaluate the performance, and at the last motivation factor, reward employees. So now we come to the last part, that is advantages and limitations. So first look at the advantages. So as we know that in this MBO process, the manager and subordinate jointly are involved. So the important thing is participation is there. That's why there is mutual commitment for the higher productivity. And MBO keeps and track constantly on our objectives and targets. It gives meaning and direction to the people in the organization. Obviously, it coordinates the activities among the various department level, and no doubt motivation is among the employees. Also, under the category of advantages, we can filter out the efforts and money, prevent the filtering away of efforts and money, and this can be considered going in the right direction. There is consistency in decision making among this process, and obviously better understanding between the supervisor and subordinate, as the goals and the process has been evaluated, monitored, and decided jointly by the supervisor and subordinates. So these are the few advantages. Now, along with the advantages, certain critics are there, like Edward Dennings. So he argued that this put on some pressure by setting the predefined goals. This put some pressure on the employee, and that may be result into the poor outcome or the poor quality of work. So MBO can be, if a balanced approach is not adopted in the MBO process, then it can be too rigid for certain patterns or certain models, or there could be less flexibility among the employee, as the goals are predefined and you have to work in only the defined direction only. So these are some of the limitations associated with the management by objective. So I conclude my presentation with this good saying, that leadership is working with goals and vision, but management is working with objective. And if there are certain queries, you can answer. Thank you.
Nice presentation. For keeping the audience engaged, you post some questions in between, and that is also a good method.
Sir,
You said that the objectives have to be decided right at the beginning.
yes, sir.
Can we have, suppose we decide an objective and work for a period of 1 year. So can after every 3 months we can revise the objectives?
Yes, definitely, sir. That's why where come the evaluation part, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so besides deciding the objective for the full year,
Yes,
can
sir.
we have objective for the quarter? First quarter, second quarter?
Yes, sir. Surely, sir. Let's say, yes, sir. Please.
So, suppose my objective for the entire year is this. This is my objective for the entire year. Then
Okay,
I'll
sir.
say my objective for first quarter is this, second
Right.
quarter is this, third quarter is this, and fourth quarter is this. At the
Yes.
end of the first quarter, I am permitted to revise the objective of the second, third, and fourth quarter. This is what I'm suggesting. So, is it permissible in MBO?
Yes, sir, it is permissible because there are two things in this particular cycle. First, as you said, we have decided the 1 year organizational objective. Then, those 1 year objective has been distributed at the department level, and definitely there should be some time frame added to these objectives. And along with the time frame, monitoring process come into play, and among the monitoring, the evaluation process come into play. So you can jointly, along with your subordinates, you can decide that after what time we can evaluate, and if the objective are going in the right direction, we can continue with our objectives. And if we found that some modification or necessary changes are there, we can with the participation of the employee and subordinates, we can do certain modification in those, because the main objective of the MBO is to increase the overall performance. But sometime, what are the, as I discussed, the limitations, sometime these plans can be too rigid, so you continue have to, as you said, after 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter, you have to look upon the, are your objective working in the right direction or not. So I think I'm able to
Okay, thank you.
right, sir.